The weight we hide is often the heaviest thing we carry, and most people don't even realize how much they're holding until it starts breaking them from the inside. Every morning, we wake up and put on a face the world expects to see, strong, composed, unbothered. But deep inside, there are memories, pressures, worries, and disappointments stacked like stones on the soul. This keynote dives deep into that unseen burden, the quiet struggle that sits behind every polite smile and every "I'm fine." What makes this weight so dangerous is that it grows silently. You don't notice it at first. You get used to carrying it. You learn to function with it. You convince yourself it's normal. But slowly, it shapes your thoughts, drains your energy, and dims your spirit. Some burdens come from expectations, trying to be everything for everyone. Some come from guilt, things you regret but never talk about. Some come from failure, fear of failing, fear of being alone, fear of being misunderstood. And some burdens come from wounds, words people spoke over you, relationships that broke you, situations that shook your confidence. The problem is not that we have these burdens. The problem is that we carry them alone, in silence, pretending they don't exist because we don't want to seem weak or vulnerable. This keynote reminds us that the hidden burden is the most destructive kind. The burden you talk about loses its power, but the burden you hide grows roots. It affects your decisions, your relationships, your peace, your sleep, and your future. Every hidden burden becomes a weight tied around the heart, slowing down your purpose. What makes matters worse is that so many people believe they have no choice but to keep carrying it. They think letting go is impossible, or that their problems are too complicated for anyone to understand. But the truth is, the moment you acknowledge your hidden weight, you take the first step toward healing. You don't have to pretend to be strong. You don't have to keep everything bottled up. You don't have to fight in silence. The weight becomes lighter the moment you stop hiding it. This keynote calls you to be honest with yourself, to recognize the load you've been dragging for years, and to realize that you don't have to carry it anymore. You were never meant to hold everything on your shoulders, and the moment you confront the weight you hide, your journey toward freedom truly begins. The invitation to surrender is one of the most powerful and comforting truths you will ever encounter. Yet it's also one of the hardest for the human heart to accept. We live in a world that teaches us to fight harder, push through pain, carry our own weight, and never show weakness. Because of that, many people believe surrender is a sign of failure or defeat. But the invitation Jesus gives, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden," is not a call to give up, but a call to finally rest. It's a call to release what's been slowly consuming you and allow divine strength to replace human struggle. This keynote focuses on the idea that no burden is too big or too messy to bring before Him. People often think they must fix themselves before they come to God. They believe they need to clean up their thoughts, stabilize their emotions, or sort out their chaos before they're worthy of surrendering. But the invitation is the opposite. You are called to come as you are, confused, tired, overwhelmed, disappointed, broken, or even doubtful. He doesn't ask for perfection. He asks for honesty. He doesn't ask for strength. He asks for surrender. Too many people hold on to things they were never meant to carry. Mistakes they can't undo, seasons they can't change, relationships they can't repair, and fears that paralyze them. They wake up each day with the same heaviness because they've convinced themselves it's their responsibility alone. But the moment you realize you're not expected to handle everything, something shifts inside you. Surrender becomes a doorway, not a defeat. It becomes the place where burdens lose their grip and hope quietly takes their place. The invitation to surrender also requires courage. It means admitting you don't have control. It means letting go of the need to know every answer, fix every problem, and carry every responsibility. It means trusting that when you release your burden into His hands, He will not drop it, disregard it, or ignore it. Instead, He lifts it, carries it, and transforms it in ways you could never do on your own. Surrender is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is the understanding that there is a greater strength available to you, a greater peace waiting for you, and a greater love covering you. And once you accept that invitation, you no longer walk through life carrying storms. You walk with the one who calms them. Trusting beyond sight is one of the greatest challenges of human faith, because it requires you to lean on something you cannot touch, cannot explain, and cannot prove through logic alone. Life trains us to depend on what we see: results, confirmation, evidence, timing, and control. But faith asks for the opposite. It asks you to take a step when you can't see the floor beneath you. It asks you to believe in peace when your circumstances are chaotic. It asks you to trust a plan when everything around you feels uncertain and unpredictable. This keynote explores the courage it takes to believe before anything changes, to pray before anything shifts, and to trust even when your heart is trembling. Most people carry their burdens because they don't trust what will happen if they let go. They assume that if they loosen their grip, everything will fall apart. They believe that if they're not in control, the situation will collapse. But trusting beyond sight is not about losing control. It's about placing control where it belongs. It's understanding that God sees what you cannot, knows what you do not, and is working in ways you cannot yet recognize. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean there isn't progress happening behind the scenes. There are moments in life when God removes the visible path on purpose, not to confuse you, but to teach you to walk by faith instead of fear. He knows that if you could see everything, you would rely on your senses, not on Him. So sometimes He closes doors, delays answers, or allows uncertainty to stretch your faith. In those moments, trusting beyond sight becomes your greatest strength. It becomes the anchor that keeps you grounded when your emotions want to run wild. It becomes the calm voice inside you that says, "I don't understand, but I believe." A true trust is built when the outcome is unclear. It grows in the silence, in the waiting, and in the in-between spaces where nothing seems to be happening. This kind of trust transforms you. It builds spiritual maturity. It strengthens your character. It allows you to walk into each day knowing you are guided, protected, and supported even when your eyes can't confirm it. When you trust beyond sight, fear loses its authority. Doubt loses its volume. And even though you can't see the full picture, you gain a peace that makes no sense and a confidence that no circumstance can shake. This keynote teaches you that faith is not about seeing the path. Faith is about trusting the one who directs it. Replacing worry with divine strength is a deeply personal shift that happens inside the heart long before anything changes on the outside. Worry is a natural human reaction. It comes when life feels uncertain, when responsibilities grow heavy, and when the future becomes blurry. But worry also steals something precious from you. It drains your energy long before you take action. It locks your mind in a cycle of what if and what might go wrong. It keeps you awake at night replaying situations you can't control. And the real danger is that worry convinces you that you're alone, that you have no support, that everything depends solely on your shoulders. This keynote shows you that there is a better way to live, a way where divine strength replaces the chaos inside you. Most people try to fight worry with more thinking, more planning, or more control. But worry doesn't disappear by trying harder. It disappears when you place your trust in someone stronger than your fears. Divine strength is the kind of strength that doesn't run out, doesn't break under pressure, and doesn't depend on your perfect performance. It steps in exactly where your ability ends. When you hand over your worries, you make room for this strength to carry what your mind and heart cannot. This divine strength doesn't mean your problems vanish instantly. It means you don't face them alone. It means you stop drowning in overthinking. It means your spirit becomes steady even when life feels unstable. When you stop fighting battles with your own limited strength and start relying on a greater power, you gain clarity, peace, and emotional balance suddenly. Situations that once overwhelmed you seem smaller because you're no longer viewing them through the lens of anxiety, but through the lens of faith. Replacing worry with divine strength is also a daily practice. It's waking up and reminding yourself, I don't have to carry this alone. It's choosing prayer over panic, surrender over stress, and trust over fear. Little by little, that shift changes everything. You begin to breathe deeper. You think more clearly. You make decisions with confidence instead of desperation. You move through challenges with a quiet assurance that you are supported, guided, and held. This keynote teaches that divine strength doesn't make you immune to problems. It makes you unshaken by them. It gives you the inner stability to face uncertainty with courage. And once you experience this exchange, your worry for his strength, you never want to go back to living burdened again. A new mindset for a new day is one of the most important transformations a person can make, because the way you start your morning often determines the direction of your entire day. Most people wake up carrying yesterday into today. Yesterday's regrets, yesterday's stress, yesterday's conversations, yesterday's failures, and yesterday's fears. They begin the day already heavy, already frustrated, already discouraged, and they don't even realize it. The mind automatically returns to old patterns, old worries, and old emotions because that's what it's used to. This keynote emphasizes the power of choosing a different way to start, of intentionally resetting your mind before the world has a chance to pull you back into old burdens. A new mindset doesn't happen accidentally. It's a decision, a practice, and a spiritual discipline. It begins with acknowledging that you cannot walk into a new day with yesterday's thinking. You cannot expect peace if your mind is filled with old noise. You cannot expect clarity if your thoughts are still tangled in old doubts. And you cannot expect strength if you feed yourself the same fear-driven, worry-filled thoughts that weakened you before. When you choose a new mindset, you choose to let go of the internal weight that limits your growth and drains your spirit. This shift starts with remembering who is in control. It means waking up and reminding yourself that you are not facing the day alone. It means replacing the first thoughts of anxiety with thoughts of gratitude. It means taking a deep breath and declaring that this day has new mercies, new opportunities, and new strength available to you. A new mindset isn't about ignoring problems. It's about viewing them from a place of faith instead of fear. It's choosing to believe that what lies ahead is not beyond your ability, because it's not dependent on your ability alone. When your mindset changes, your reactions change, your conversations change, your energy changes. You stop rushing through the day in survival mode and begin moving with intention and calmness. You stop expecting the worst and begin believing for the best. You stop letting negative thoughts control you and start speaking life over yourself, your decisions, and your future. This inner shift influences everything, from your confidence to your relationships to the way you see challenges. A new day deserves a new mindset because God gives fresh strength, fresh grace, and fresh peace every morning. And when you choose to align your thoughts with that truth, you walk into the day lighter, clearer, and far more grounded than before. Walking forward light, focused, and free is the natural result of what happens when you stop carrying your burdens alone and start trusting God with the weight you were never meant to hold. Life becomes clearer, not because the challenges disappear, but because your heart and mind are no longer drowning under pressure. This keynote speaks to the transformation that occurs when you release the heaviness inside you and finally allow yourself to move through each day with a renewed spirit. When the weight lifts, you begin to see opportunities you once overlooked. You notice blessings you once ignored, and you find strength you didn't know you had. Freedom changes how you walk. Your steps become steadier, your decisions more confident, and your heart more peaceful. Many people drag emotional chains behind them without realizing it. They move through life tired, drained, and overwhelmed, believing this is just how adulthood, responsibility, or struggle works. But the truth is, heaviness is not your identity. Fear is not your normal. Anxiety is not your destiny. You were created to walk with clarity, purpose, and inner peace. When you cast your burdens on Jesus, you're not just letting go of weight. You're stepping into the life you were meant to live. You're choosing direction over distraction, purpose over pressure, and faith over fear. Walking forward free also means you stop replaying past mistakes and start embracing new possibilities. When the burden of regret lifts, you think differently. You stop questioning whether you're worthy of a fresh start, and you begin believing that God is guiding every step you take. Freedom allows you to focus on what truly matters: your growth, your calling, your peace, and your relationship with Him. It clears mental space so you can hear His voice above the noise of worry and negativity. And when you walk forward focused, your life gains momentum. You make decisions with intention. You handle challenges with wisdom instead of panic. You protect your peace instead of letting every situation steal it. You become more present, more grounded, and more aware of the support that surrounds you. This is what happens when divine strength replaces human struggle. Your path becomes clearer, even if the future is unknown. Walking forward light, focused and free is not just a moment, it's a lifestyle. It's choosing each day to trust rather than fear, to release rather than cling, and to step forward rather than stay stuck. When you live this way, life doesn't feel like a battle. It feels like a journey guided by grace, strengthened by faith, and carried by a peace that cannot be shaken.